Welcome back to Commercially Speaking. I'm Timmy Barron, ADHD.
And I'm Bo Barron, CCIM.
And this is the real estate podcast, commercial real estate podcast, investing podcast, everything commercial. And today we got a guest. Bo, how do you know this person?
I know this guy from way back in my SVN days, back when we called it Sperry Van Ness. Mm-hmm. And I got to know him a little bit. And then when I was at the Massimo group, I kept trying to recruit him as a coach. And he kept telling me no. He was busy, I don't know. I probably just didn't sell the value very much. So then when I left, he was like, Bo's finally gone. I'll become a coach. So now he's a coach at the Massimo group. He is the national, Reid, you're going to have to tell me the actual title, but he's the multifamily national council chair for multifamily.
Oh, wow.
For SVN. So he runs the show.
Gotcha.
For multifamily for SVN.
Right.
And,
okay.
And he lives in Chicago.
Hey, we got some things to talk about.
You do.
So this is going to be pretty exciting. You're bringing him back on to hash this whole coach thing out live on the air.
I've been wanting to ask you for a long time, like, dude, why'd you keep telling me no?
I'll explain.
Well, before you do, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, Reid Bennett.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you guys for having me on. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right.
Let's rock and roll.
Where did that come? Was that a Rush Limbaugh thing?
No, that's for all the radio shows
Any
back in the
call-in
day,
show.
man.
Any
Everybody would
call-in
say,
show, okay.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. So
Amazing. Well, Reid, give us a little, like a 5-minute origin story of, what you wanted to be when you grew up and why you became what you are now that you're grown up.
Well, let's go way back. So 50 years ago, because I just turned 50 last week, we were going to be on the call, but you had an issue with something.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks. Bo just turned 49 last year in his late 40s. We talked about.
That's right.
So I actually went to University of Iowa. I was there my thoughts were to be a doctor until I hit organic chem.
Yep. That's what that class does.
That's it. That's what it does. It weeds out the weak. So I was weak when it came to biology and chemistry. So I switched over to a major that I never used in my life.
Wow.
And it ended up, it was called corporate fitness.
Really?
Yeah.
Really called corporate fitness?
It was called corporate fitness. It was a new major at University of Iowa, and then I minored in business out there. And I didn't get into business classes until my last 2 years, and I was really way more interested in that than any of the health or sciences.
Then being studying to become a personal trainer for CEOs?
Well, in essence, it was you go into corporations and you set up healthcare plans to reduce their healthcare costs, right? But what I was a personal trainer. I ended up being a personal trainer in college, just like you said. I was running a personal training studio after college downtown in a building called the LaSalle Wacker Building down in the Loop.
Oh yeah.
All my it's now called something else. It's right at the corner of LaSalle and Wacker, hence the name. And so all of the clients that I had were either lawyers or real estate brokers or owners. So for an hour, all I would do is talk to them, and I really found real estate very interesting. My college roommate retired about 10 years ago. He owns a bunch of real estate. He got me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad in 1999. I read that. It made me think a little bit differently about how everything was going. And then one of the clients that I was training was a multifamily broker. And he would show me his checks, which were each individual check of a closing that he showed me was more than I was making waking up at 5 and getting home at 9 at night as a personal trainer.
Man, people who do that are such dicks.
But I said, look, if this guy can do it, what the hell am I doing? And so that's when I transitioned over. 2021, I became a multifamily broker, and that's 25 years ago.
Wow.
So
why multifamily?
So it was the only thing that I could understand, right? I mean, I'm not smart enough to do anything else, but multifamily, it was a boutique brokerage firm that I was the youngest by 25 years. They were all dinosaurs, but all they did was multifamily in Chicago. So I learned multifamily, and
Wait a
it's
second.
funny because I met you at SVN, right?
Mm-hmm.
So multifamily broker from 2001 to 2007, somewhere around 2006-ish, I had a client that said, "Hey, I know you track all these multifamily deals in the Midwest. Do you know the owner of this 100-unit deal?" It was in Northwest Indiana. I said, "Yeah, I know him." And he said, "Well, I want to buy this deal." I said, "Okay, I'm going to drive out." Because he was right outside of Chicago. I drove out to meet with this guy that owned this deal, and and I was like 27 years old or whatever, and I said, "Hey, I have a client that wants to buy your 100-unit deal in Indiana," and he said, "Yeah, whatever, kid. You give me 50 a door, I'll sell it." Right, so $5 million. I went back. I delivered an offer at $4,950,000.
Wow.
And the guy's shoulders like shrunk. I was like, that he kind of looked like disappointed. And I said, that's a kind of an unusual response. I'm $50,000 off on a $5 million deal. And he goes, "Look, kid, I didn't know you were going to bring this back to me." He goes, "I looked through my documents. We syndicated this deal. I cannot take an off-market deal from a boutique brokerage firm. I have to list it with a nationally recognized firm." He goes, "So I can't take this offer." So, I didn't even know what to say, but that's what started me looking at national firms. That's how I found, at the time, it was Sperry Van Ness. We got the franchise in Chicago in 2008, and that's what led me to SVN. So we were the same office, but we checked that national box.
Wow.
Do you understand what he meant when he said the syndication docs didn't allow him to take an off-market deal from a boutique?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like he's got it. He's got it set up. He's with a boutique agency, but the place that was gonna, wants to sell
So,
or whatever. Yeah,
like if I'm the sponsor of the deal,
yeah,
in the operating agreement, it spells out what you can do and what you can't do. And evidently, in this operating agreement for this deal, this guy if he was going to sell, he had to list it with a national brokerage company.
right.
So, Reid was at the wrong shop.
Yeah,
For this guy to do that deal, he was handcuffed by the docs.
and Reid kind of did what you did here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got SVN. Yeah,
They franchised and became part of the national flag, and
yeah, and then you were able to do it.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
Which my guess is, were you able to do the deal, or had it already passed by?
Well, they listed it with a nationally recognized firm. They took my offer, they shopped it, and they sold it for $5 million.
Nice.
Ugh. No.
Not nice.
Not nice for
He
Reid.
goes, "Nice."
I see. You gave him an offer, and
Yeah. So
They used it to
they
get.
used it as
yeah.
leverage.
So that's what led me to SVN, and so that was 2008. And then a few years later, the national council chair of multifamily was leaving, and I'm sure you remember John McDermott. John McDermott was my mentor in the business, and this council chair said, "Hey, I'm leaving. Would you like to step in and be the national council chair?" I remember I went to John McDermott. I said, "They've asked me to do this. What should I do?" He goes, "Accept it." And I said, "Well, I don't even know what." He goes, "Doesn't matter. Accept it. You're doing it." And so I figured it out, and that's been 13 years in this position. So yeah, it's been
John
fun.
McDermott, he was when we were with SVN back in the day. John McDermott was kind of the biggest personality in the company outside of the founders.
Yeah.
And he had a way of communicating. You felt like he loved you. He was and he was the first guy ever. I was in Chicago, probably for some SVN thing. I was at dinner with him and a number of other people, and he's the one, "Hey, have you heard of this app?" And I was like, "What app?" And he's like, "Uber." It was right when Uber started, and it was happening in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I could order a car with my phone?
Yeah, wow.
You know?
Yeah.
The whole idea was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. That's
Yeah.
not going to work.
Right.
Isn't that awesome?
That
Well, and he was
worked.
in California, right? So we get anything that happens in California, we get about 2 years later here. So he
Yeah.
was way ahead of his time at that
Yeah.
point.
Have you ever heard me say people only sell for two reasons?
No, maybe.
They either have a problem or an opportunity. That's it. And that is a quote directly from John McDermott.
Yeah.
John McDermott. I heard it. I heard that from him first, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the business of helping people take advantage of opportunities that they see,
Sure.
or helping them solve their problems. Like,
Yep.
that's what we do. You know,
Yeah.
it crystallized the whole business for me.
Wow.
He's a neat guy. Where is he now?
He is in Buckeye, Arizona.
Buckeye.
Huh.
Yeah, right outside of Phoenix.
I've got something that's just sitting on my brain that won't pass. This guy that showed you his checks, like, just briefly, what's the situation where someone's like, "Hey, look at my checks here." What is that situation?
Well, I mean, this was a unique situation, right? So I was working with him. I was his personal trainer, right? So I had a pretty good relationship with him.
yeah,
And he was in my building, right? And so he closed the deal, and he actually, he was trying to get me to come on board. And he was like, look,
I see.
basically, how much are you making doing? He goes, I know what I'm paying you. Check this out.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
that's right. Yep, that makes total sense.
yeah,
Total sense.
Yeah, he was recruiting.
That's right.
Him, not
No, that makes-
bragging per se.
That's
yeah,
right. That's
a
right.
little of both.
Yeah, probably.
A little of
No,
both, but
Here's a fun fact. Our very first in-person recording session for Commercially Speaking. So we did it. I was in Chicago when we started, and we did it.
Oh, yeah.
The
right,
very first
you're in
one.
our
was-
office.
That's right, at the SVN
Yeah.
Chicago office.
That's
right.
right.
We did a
I
couple
forgot
on there.
about that. We spent a couple hours setting up and getting the lighting
That's
and all that
right.
stuff. And,
That's right. Look good.
Oh, it looked good. It was the
looked real
first time
good.
we were in person.
That's right.
The energy was great.
Yeah.
I gave you a pitch.
That's right. You showed me
I
a
pitched
pitch
a
deck.
deal.
That's
Yeah.
right. You showed me, and that was like, everything was brand new to me. Everything. I didn't know any. But that's why I know what a GP and a sponsor,
Yeah.
LP and syndication.
Well, I have to say, I mean, I've been listening to your show since you guys had the first one, and Timmy, you probably know more than 99% of the brokers
agree.
and the people in the business.
Wow.
So get to work.
Come on, man. He has maintained from the beginning that he's not interested in the business.
Oh,
But,
come on,
he
man. You
sounds
know
like
more.
he's
You know
interested.
more.
Maybe I should start showing him some checks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's Bo. So you and I are connected through SVN back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
CCIM, obviously. You're an instructor there, and Massimo Group. You were. What was it? What was exactly your position? You were like executive
I was
vice
the
president,
COO at the end.
COO. Okay.
Yep.
And then CRE investor coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Brad Arns.
Jumping into that with Brad. and
Nice.
team.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're
So-
excited about that.
Talking about learning. I mean, I've been in the business for 25 years, and I'm learning more in that. Just watching some of the videos from that
It's unreal.
Well,
It's unreal.
you know who edited those videos?
probably you guys,
Not you guys.
Timmy.
Timmy.
I don't know if the videos he's watching for the program, I didn't have anything to do with. Everything I did was front facing, I believe. Right?
Yeah. Well,
I've been watching a lot of videos, man. So
get in the way of a good
one was
story.
Back in
know what?
Black. Did you do the Back in Black in the background? AC/DC.
No, that was not me.
Okay.
See, these might not be good videos.
Oh.
I don't want to put my name on it.
Yeah.
If the editing of the videos.
Until
is-
he sees them, he doesn't want to say whether they're his or not.
I will
That's
say
right.
this, Reid. Since we've been doing Hearthstone Capital, Brad
Yeah.
and I, what I have learned about Brad is his mind for how to structure something
Oh man.
is otherworldly.
Yeah.
And I mean, how we've structured Hearthstone, how he's org charting things and stuff. And like, I used to think I was kind of smart and good at this stuff. And then I work with a guy like that and I'm like, whoa, whole other level by a multitude, like what his mind is capable of just blows me away. And, I hear it from guys like you, guys like Brent Miller, other people who are in CRE Investor Coach. Ross Miller, friend of the show, was just talking with CRE Investor Coach.
He'd love that.
Ross is one of my fraternity brothers from college, and we were in each other's weddings, and he was trapped in corporate America. And when I mean trapped, I mean he and I were coming up with business ideas, mainly him, when we were in college, and we'd do business plans and like a dive shop in the Bahamas or a movie theater that had a restaurant in it, which they actually do now.
That's a good idea.
And all this stuff. And then he went corporate America and ended up with Ring Central, and they downsized all kinds of people, and he got caught in the third wave of that. And so then he finally jumped into commercial real estate in Dallas. And so he's been doing that for a couple years now, but I don't know why.
I'm telling you, anybody that's out there, you don't go to any mastermind. Don't go to any other person that's trying to. You have to, if you want to get into this, syndicating and buying your own deal. There's nowhere else that I would suggest going to this.
Same.
The way they have this set up. A lot of it follows the Massimo principles as well, which is a fantastic coaching platform that we can get into. But he's laying it all out and all of the documents you need. And it's just, I don't know why anybody would do anything else. Really.
It's unreal. And the videos I did for him were like, he was interviewing people about what they learned and things. It was for the Massimo Con, right? So I put a 2-minute video together.
Oh, okay.
And they're all talking about their experience. And through listening to these people, they're just blown away. And even the tip of the iceberg that was talked about structuring your deal or getting the money. And we even did an episode. We've been toying around with the idea of like a commercial real estate investor series where essentially Brad teaches me how to go out and invest in my own building.
Killer.
And even potentially like do it, right? From zero to over. So we've been toying
That'd be awesome.
We've been toying with that idea, and I think that would be great. But with CRE Investor Coach, I don't think we talk about it enough when we talk about investing and how good it is to go into it. How long have you been doing this?
I just started, but I've been eating up all those videos. I mean, he has a video library that is, it's going to take years to go through. Not years, but there's so much in there. And I've been watching all of the bonus videos from all the previous calls, and it's just like, there's just nothing like it. So
so you haven't even started getting in like the group sessions or whatever.
No,
that's the other thing, the network of people, they're all helping each other out with investing. So, and it's mainly like brokers that are really wanting to learn more about investing themselves. Right?
Yeah, except you don't need to be a broker.
No,
like, if you want to be an investor and an owner and figure out how to put your own deals together, like this is the program. You don't have to be a broker. In fact, I think being a broker first can sometimes hurt you because you end up thinking like a broker, and transitioning into thinking like an owner is a really hard leap for a lot of brokers. Luckily, I had a dad who was both. We had a dad.
That's right. Yeah, we have the same
I'm
dad.
talking about him like he's in the past tense.
But
we have a dad who is an investor and a broker and a builder and a developer, and he did all the stuff. So we grew up, and my mentor, my model for all this, thought like an investor and a broker, and so that just seemed like the most natural thing to me. But it is not.
Right.
And so like if you're listening to the show, and you've got a desire to invest and figure out how to do it well, and like what are the steps? Like what do I need to learn? Like CRE Investor Coach is your answer,
so good.
And we'll put a link in the show notes because we're affiliated with them. It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt.
This was not a planned plug either.
No.
But there is a link in the show notes.
Well, and it's interesting. And so I'll just give you something that is, it took place. So I'm a broker of multifamily, right?
Yes.
And so we were selling a small deal in Wisconsin, and we were talking up the benefits and why our pro forma work is going to work, no problem, right? And so a lot of buyers are like, yeah, whatever, broker, they don't care. And finally, we were saying, look, no, we believe in this. And they said, if you believe in this so much, put your entire fee into this. And we said, well, as long as our seller's fine with it, well, let me check. And the seller said, you get me that price, I don't care what you do with your fee. And so we ended up putting our fee into that deal. And when we got, we committed to it, right? And so then they sent us the PPM, the documents for the investors. And what my business partner and I realized was we had more in the deal than the GPs that were getting 50% of the equity in that deal with our fee. And then they ran it horribly. And we actually ended up just getting, a portion of our money back. So that was the one thing. And I shared that with Brad and Rob, and they're kind of smiling, see, what are you doing? What are you doing investing like that? But the other thing about them is they have over 2,800 LP investors in a database. So you sit there and find a deal. You don't have to go run around to friends and family and try to get, you can fund a deal. And one of the guys funded a deal in 8 hours.
Oh, yeah. We're
You know.
and look at Hearthstone Capital. We're looking for deals to invest in as a fund of funds,
Yeah.
and so that's been a great source of deals to take a look
Sure.
at. That's part of
Sure.
our pipeline is the people who are in CRE Investor Coach pitching the deals that they've found after they've learned how to put them together well from
Yeah.
Brad and Rob and those guys, and then we know as Hearthstone that we've got somebody that actually knows what they're doing because they've been through the program. So we have a high level of trust in their skills and abilities. And
Wow.
it's been really good.
This sounds like a no-brainer. I'm going to go out on a ledge here and say this might be the most valuable episode we've ever done so far.
Wow.
The resources. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Just in the way that we said all this, it's like you want to start investing, you got CRE Investor Coach that teaches it all. That's also linked to Hearthstone that's looking to invest in great deal makers, as well as I just learned about that database of LPs. You're trusted and good and all that. Yeah.
Well, and then, with the onset of social media, right, you can just find more deals, find more investors. I realized, Bo, you and I have 1,337 common connections on LinkedIn.
Woo.
How does that ever happen? That
They all listen to the podcast.
I don't even know that many people really in person,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed. Yeah. I used to, I remember I was kind of an early adopter with social media, and I remember at an SVN conference, they had me speak on social media one time. And I remember this is such an arrogant statement. Because I was looking at John McDermott when I said this. I remember this distinctly. I'm on the stage. John McDermott's in the front row. And I made the comment that, I'm from a small town. I'm third generation. I know all the owners already, just from being my dad's son. It's like, but if you drop me in any other town with the power of social media, I can become a top producer way faster than you think.
Mm.
Now, that's easy for me to say because I've never had to do it. But I remember McDermott looking at me going, yeah, whatever, and
it's a powerful tool. We just listed a 280 unit deal. 100% if it wasn't for LinkedIn, 100% came through a LinkedIn referral.
Yep.
Well, you in particular have really mastered the art of LinkedIn. Like you do LinkedIn incredibly well. And
fill me in.
I screw around with it a lot. I could use Timmy's help making it a little more interesting, but
I can help you.
Well, for the longest time, and you may still do this because I have dropped off social media for the most part, so I'm not paying as much attention, but Reid would use AI to generate these photos. And at least weekly, I think he would post, and it would be an AI generated image
Yeah.
that was communicating the point he was making in the post. And it was really before I saw anybody else in the industry doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so even the imagery was captivating, and the message was good. And
So I actually, because I looked you up today, there's a video of somebody on like it's almost like a big
Like a
thick
zip line?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I posted that yesterday. Yeah.
Right. And so AI video is getting so incredibly good now. Is that a real video or was that one AI?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these things, like I've been pulling just strange and interesting videos in to, kind of relate them to a multifamily post. And that one actually was CRE Investor Coach. So that just draws people in. And I'm noticing some of these like 30-second clips are getting, 873 hours of watch time.
Yeah.
For a 30-second clip. So all that's doing is drawing them in.
That's right.
Then they read the content maybe, and then they start commenting on the content, and then it draws it into the other content that's on, and then eventually, they see that it just solds or whatever, which is boring. That's what everybody does. That's what I used to do, right? There was a CCIM, a LinkedIn CCIM, like half-day class that came through Chicago in like 2009. And they were ahead of their time, right? In 2009, talking about LinkedIn, and but what I did for the first probably 10 years was if I saw something, a multifamily article, I would just post that article. Like, this is an interesting read. Take a read, and it would get like 5 likes, and 2 of them are my family members, right?
Yeah.
And because LinkedIn, they don't want to see a link that takes you outside of LinkedIn, so the algorithm crushes it. So you never put a link in. So it's like you just learn a bunch of tips and tricks along the way. And I don't know, I probably spend too much time. The people I coach, I tell them not to be on that long, but I can get in the LinkedIn hole.
Well, look, go back to this listing you just got that was 100% through LinkedIn. Like, take us through how that happened.
So that one just happened with there's a broker in Florida that, we comment on each other's stuff all the time. I've met him one time in person, never talked to him other than that. Maybe 10 years ago, met him. And we've just commented on LinkedIn and here and there. And, so he has a client that wants to buy all of their deals in Orlando, right? But they're from the Midwest. And so his motivation is to get them to sell their Midwest portfolio to sell them more deals down in Orlando, right? So he calls me and says, hey, I have a client. They own all these deals up in the Midwest. Would you want to talk to him? Absolutely. And it's all from commenting and staying in touch on LinkedIn. 100%.
Wow.
So, yeah, if I'm just going to reframe that a little bit, you had a relationship that was mainly built on social media that got to a point where he trusted your ability with a huge opportunity. And when he was thinking, man, I need somebody in the Midwest that can absolutely hit this out of the park, like the obvious answer was you, because he had that relationship with you built over. So it's still relationships.
Yeah.
It's
just, man, they can be fostered and built in different ways than they used to.
That's right. That's
right.
Probably.
And I mean, I went to the Massimo Con whenever it was not Massimo Con. It was a Massimo immersion in Orlando years ago, maybe 10 years ago, right? And this is when, Rod had said, everybody go to the corner and do a 30-second video of content. And I was like, what the hell is that? I didn't do it, I half-assed it. And then, I went home and I sat there. I was looking at LinkedIn or whatever on a Saturday morning, and Rod said, all of you guys, you might try this once, maybe twice. You're going to try to make it perfect, and then you're never going to do it again. And so I was like, whatever. So I was driving to get my car washed, and I put up my phone, and I recorded my first video. It was, I said, hey, this is Reid Bennett. This is the Multifamily Minute. Here are 3 things you need to do with your multifamily asset. I posted it. I went into the car wash, and then I got back to my house and I looked at it, and it had like 40 people were already talking and commenting about it, and they were pushing it to each other.
Yeah.
And this guy, Yona Weiss, you might know him,
Yeah.
Madison Specs, who runs all these CRE 10 days, he made a comment which pushed it to all of his people, ended up being like 800 and something interactions. And I was like, how many hours of calling and marketing and all of this would you have to do to reach 800 people? And now, I'll do a post that reaches 100,000 people. It's incredible.
Yeah,
I could go on about it.
We can. I love talking about this stuff. What I wanted to point out with that, what story you just told was you just turned the phone on and recorded something. There was no editing that you did. It sounds like you knew what you're going to say. You knew the points you're going to hit. You introduced yourself. Here's what I do. Here's 3 things. Listicle that. I call them listicles. Maybe that's what they're called anyway. But when you've got 3 points, right? The top 3, whatever, right? Those are so great and easy to do, are full of value and no fluff. Yep. But you don't need a setup like Bo and I have for this. Even today, it's almost better to be raw and with the phone. Mm-hmm. So anybody listening that's like, oh, that was so simple. It was so simple for you to just throw it up and do it. And it can be that simple every time. Something I used to say to my, the actors that I would coach a lot would be, let it be simple. Right? Yeah. Let it be easy. So many of us try to overcomplicate it or think we're not doing enough or it's got to feel like work for it to be right or for it to do it. But well, and it needs to be subtle too, right? You don't want to say, we just listed a 250 unit apartment deal and here's all the deal points of it. No, what you do is, you just say, hey, I just left this 250 unit deal that we have listed and I've never seen this. Or, we went into the basement and somebody was hanging from the copper pipes trying to steal it. People want to hear interesting stories. Yep. But then you kind of subtly weave in what you do, and then they go, "Oh, well, who is this guy?" And then they can look at you. That's right. Again, if you Google yourself, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up number 1 99% of the time, maybe number 2 if you have a company that has a great website. So if you don't have your LinkedIn page showing exactly what you do and who you are, you're missing. You have a huge miss right there. Yeah. So. And that was a good clarification too with the video, because the point is not to brag, right? Or to show them. Yeah, the point is here's some information for you that can help you. Well, and you can see anything in public, you can relate back to your business, right? So there were guys that were. I was telling Bo before we got on. I live in a forest preserve in Chicago, and there were the city of Chicago was trimming trees, and this was right when all the interest rates just started cranking up, right? In 2022, 2023, we were probably like 5 interest rate hikes in, and these guys were trimming trees and they're putting it into the wood chipper, right? And then the wood chipper broke. So this one guy, this city worker, was halfway into the wood chipper and halfway out. And I'm walking my dog, and I was like, this is too good to be true. And I took a picture of this. And so I'm like, I got to relate this somehow to multifamily. And I was like, all right, these are the multifamily owners in the Midwest that are refinancing with cash in refis right now. Oh, and so it's like anything that, any interesting thing you can relate back. And people are so bored with posts on LinkedIn. You have to make it funny. You have to make it interesting. And that's good. Yeah. Try to do that. I don't know what I'm doing really. Well, it sounds like it comes pretty, not like it's super easy, but it comes pretty simple to you. That's really creative to see an image and quickly be able to connect it to what you do, right? And what you could share. That's like, that is a incredible quality to have. And it's a hard thing to teach. So that's like, you feel like you don't know if you're doing it right or not. Like you're doing it 100% right. Like it's really good and impressive, actually. Not everybody can do that. No. But you can I would also watch other people in your profession, what resonates with you when you see their post, right? 100%.
Sean Ward in California, he does, I mean, he's very cerebral with his posts. And, I found I was enjoying watching what he was posting. And it's like, how can I make this similar? Right.
That's right.
Or not similar, but what can you do?
What can you steal from him to use
Yeah.
and as yourself?
Yeah. Anyway.
For your own. There's something called remixing where, because there's a lot of people too, they're like, oh, I don't want to steal from what they're doing or whatever. But every great artist steals from their favorite artists. There's a story about Quentin Tarantino being asked about Reservoir Dogs after that came out, because he used a lot of what's in there, the setting, even the ending where they're all pointing guns at each other, several storylines in it from this old, I think it was a French movie, but it's another movie that if you were to watch it, it's a short film, under 30 minutes. If you were to watch it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is like Reservoir Dogs. And so the people began to ask him about it. Like, did you plagiarize this movie? He's like, yeah. Every great director, or steal, not plagiarize. Did you steal, your ideas from this movie? He's like, yes, every great director steals pieces of their favorite directors. They steal all these things. And he wrote his own thing using a lot of the elements there, but 100% being aware of what catches your attention.
Anything is that way right now, right? I mean, look at the coaching platform, even Massimo, right? He takes from the best books, the best minds, and then just kind of but you're just funneling it down to something that resonates with your target audience or what you do as a professional.
That's right.
This is everything.
Everything.
I think about, how you prospect. You learned somewhere, and my guess is you probably didn't have a tremendous amount of original ideas that just happened to work. Like, you learned that somewhere else. You're taking what's worked somewhere else and you're applying it to your business.
100%.
That's exactly what you're talking about with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
As I've started this leatherworking stuff, like, I've only done like a couple of patterns myself. Everything else I've made so far, I'm watching a YouTube video of how this guy did it over there and this guy did it. Like, you look at the stuff I've done, like, that's somebody else's design.
Right.
And I'm learning how to do it. And, everything we do, like songwriting, all that stuff is inspired by, or the idea comes from somewhere else. And you're right, man. When I was at the Massimo Group, we were reading books all the time. What can we take from here and apply to commercial real estate to help our clients be more successful? That's everything. Like,
you have to understand that there's no original ideas right now.
I agree.
There's no such thing as an original idea, right?
Right.
With billions and billions and billions of people in the world, your idea, it's probably been thought of. But the other thing is, you take what you want from all of these various, resources.
And leave what you want as well.
Tweak it just a little bit.
That's right.
To make it your own. And, now we're talking about Quentin Tarantino and leather work. That's all I can think about is in the dungeon that Timmy was in before this.
And my bare feet.
Well, let's
I did make a post with Reservoir Dogs where it's, Stuck in the Middle with You song where he was walking around. I posted that video somewhere a few years ago.
Oh, that's so
related it to multifamily or something, whatever. But
let's talk about multifamily a little bit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure. Commercial real estate. Right?
Yeah. Talk to us about multifamily. I mean, you're the National Council chair. You've got a perspective on the industry nationwide that
Sure.
most of our listeners don't have and would enjoy hearing about. Like, tell us about the market a little bit. What's it looking like right now? What can people expect in 2026?
So, having been through, everybody's asking me, once they hear that I've been doing this for over 25 years, they ask, what's the differences and similarities between the GFC and what may or may not be going on right now? The GFC is the Great Financial Crisis, where, it was 2008. Everything was, I was in the business from 2002, 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7 was crushing it. And I was like, this business is the best. Real estate only goes up. But you know, where, like, what mansion am I buying? You know, how many car garage? You know, that's all I was thinking when I was in my, you know, late 20s and early 30s. And then all of a sudden 2008 hits, right? The difference between what I noticed from that time period, because when we were selling apartment buildings, for the first 5 years of my career, I did not know how to underwrite a multifamily asset at all. I only knew because I was selling apartment buildings to condo converters. That's it. Nobody else was paying the price. All the older guys in my office were like, "You're never going to get 70,000 a door for that deal," and then we'd get 95. Because all condo converters cared about was, what's the square footage? What can I convert this to? Can I take this dining room and add another bedroom and then sell it on the back end as a condo for $300,000? So I didn't even, which is what led me to CCIM, by the way. So we're kind of going all around the place because I didn't have that financial background in how to underwrite deals. All I knew was I had a laser tape measure, and I would go into these apartment buildings and I'd measure them out. I'd tell these owners, here's how big the units are, and we'd write offers on the hood of the car, and they'd say, go take it back into this owner and make the deal. So what happened during that period was, it was a time period called no doc loans, right? Anybody buying a house or a condo, and my brother was a mortgage broker during this time period, and he got criticized by his bosses, like if he would provide, here's their employment verification of what they were making. And his boss would say, get rid of that. We don't even put this in. That's a whole extra step we have to go through if we have to verify their income to give them a loan for a $400,000 house. How stupid is that?
Wow.
Right?
Oh man.
So the whole no doc loan, subprime loans, all the stuff that was going on, anybody that could not afford a house was getting a house. So they were all leaving apartment buildings, and they were buying a condo or a house that they couldn't afford. So the occupancy levels of apartment buildings just plummeted. And that's the difference between right now. Right now, interest rates are back up. It's very difficult. I mean, I was just trying to refinance my house a while ago, and they were asking for my, being a 1099, it's always difficult, but they're asking for documentation that's, this thick just to refi. Nobody can get a loan right now, so none of the tenants in the apartment buildings are, not none, but very few are leaving to go buy a house or a condo. So the metrics of multifamily are so robust. Occupancies in most areas around the country, and I track a number of areas, are mid to high 90s. So the sellers of the apartment buildings are saying, we'll market a deal and we'll say, well, with debt constraints today, here's what the market is bearing, and here's what people are willing to pay for your deal. And the sellers are saying, I don't care. I'm not selling it for that. I just raised my rents $150 on my renewals. So the market is so robust for multifamily because people are not buying homes. However long that's going to last, I don't know, but it's still very robust all across the country in various areas. The only places that it's not are the Sunbelt regions where they overdeveloped, which is what you should be doing when people talk about affordability. I'm here in Chicago. The politicians in Chicago think the developers are the evil people. We're not going to give them permits. It's going to cost them 40% of their developer fees just in the red tape that we're going to put them through, which skyrockets the cost of construction, right? So in turn, if construction's up and it costs so much to build, what do you have to do for rents? Rents have to go high.
Yep.
So what a lot of the politicians don't understand is this is economics 101, right? Supply and demand. If there's more supply, which we're seeing in the Sunbelt regions, there's a lot more supply. It's overbuilt. The rents start coming down.
Yep.
In areas like here in Chicago in the Midwest, they're not building anything. It's either highly amenitized Class A or low-income housing tax credit. There's nothing in the middle they're developing. So what happens is, Class B and C apartment buildings, owners can just jack the rents because the tenants are not going anywhere.
That's right. Man.
So it directly negatively impacts the constituents, a lot of the the politicians are trying to protect by not allowing developers to build more. Because today's Class A is tomorrow's Class C, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just went on a soapbox rant about that, but
That's fine.
did that answer your question about where multifamily is? I mean, it's still the golden child, I think, because everybody needs a place to live, right? Industrial is kind of slowing down, with what's going on in the world with trade and whatnot. Retail, a lot of people can shop virtually. Office, you can office virtually like we're all doing now. You can't live virtually yet, right? So until you can go into a phone booth and put on the goggles and think that you're in a 20,000 square foot mansion, you're going to be renting an apartment,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Do you think that'll happen?
What? Which?
The phone book scenario.
Phone booth?
He said a second ago, he said, you can't live virtually yet. And I thought, well, that's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Because how could you ever live virtually? But then
You can.
my brain went to, like, how can you live virtually? And then he said it, phone book with goggles, and you think you're...
Yeah.
I just watched Maddie over Christmas, my nephew Jake, and my sister's brother Bo also
Yeah.
at Christmas, and they had the virtual reality goggles, and we were playing golf.
Yeah.
And you put those goggles on,
It's unreal.
and you're playing golf.
Right. Yeah.
And I had no clue. I'd never...
You'd never worn those
I'd
before?
never put a pair of VR goggles on before.
Oh.
And so it was like, what? I'm on a golf course.
It's unreal.
Like, could we actually live like that?
Imagine. So there's virtual reality, but then there's also augmented reality. Do you know the difference?
Yeah, where there's actually stuff
Yeah.
placed.
That's right.
Like, I've heard it in the context of like staging a home or furniture or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
It takes your real environment and it adds virtual aspects to it, right? So there's going to be a time where it's just going to be, if it's not a chip in our brains, where this technology could fit in a contact lens, right? Pop those in, and you've got directions to wherever you want to go, or you see the name of everything. Again, I think we talked about Black Mirror. The
I still haven't watched it. but yeah,
that really shows you some crazy things that could happen in the future and in this kind of realm. But yeah, 100%. Like, we're going to be able to go to concerts together, right? And you're there, I'm there, but we're in a phone booth.
And,
Right?
you're in your comfy pants, man.
In your comfy pants on your own couch, enjoying AC/DC in the
There you go.
70s
you know what? That's the death of
or the
Zoom.
80s.
Like, that's the death of Zoom. Or Zoom better figure out how to do that, because if I can pop contacts in my eyes and now I'm sitting with Brad Arns
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
in Hawaii,
That's right.
or we'll just pick somewhere in the middle. Let's say we meet in Arizona virtually, but I'm actually, like, it feels like I'm with him at the table, like
Yeah.
we are right now.
That's right.
Oh, it's
Like,
not far
I
off.
would love to ditch Zoom.
Yeah.
I love Zoom, by the way, in the sense that, like, it's super functional and I'm a big fan, but, like, I'm over it.
Right.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, something that feels more real would be.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that with VR goggles. Like the Zuckerberg is. I just imagine when he was showing the metaverse, right? And his little cartoon was walking through the metaverse and other people. That's the idea. Is you could sit down with friends from across the world and play poker together. Put those
Look,
on.
it's very real, right? I mean, even I just introduced, my wife's been hearing me talk about ChatGPT for, a year or however long it's been around. And she's like, whatever. And I said, she wanted to find a health plan for herself. I said, well, let's type in everything we have in the house to work out in, your age, what your goals are. And it spit this whole thing out. And she's interacting with it. And she starts giggling. And I said, well, what are you giggling about? She's like, well, did you see how it's like talking to me? And, it's like, so it's going to take over me for sure. Because it was talking to her nice, and it was like, yeah, let's whip this up for you. And it's like, you know what, with the fact that you just are turning 50 and you told me about, and it's like regurgitating everything that it remembers.
Yep.
I don't do that when I talk to her. I don't remember anything that she tells me, right? So,
right.
you know, it's going to replace all of us. Trust me.
Have you used Claude at all?
Slightly. I need to jump into that more because I heard you talking about it a lot.
Here's what I would suggest you do. We had Michael Hieronymus on a couple weeks ago.
He was the one.
He was, and, you know, it was a frightening conversation if you ask me, but he was bringing up Claude Cowork.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. What Cowork does is it allows you to create agents that'll actually go and do things for you. So ChatGPT, you know, it has a conversation with you, and I use it. Claude will do the same thing, like the base Claude functionality. It'll just have a conversation with you. Best minds in the world it can kind of emulate, and, you know, all like what you were just describing, get right for you and stuff. But you couldn't tell it to go do something online for you. But Claude Cowork, man, here's what I suggest you do. And anybody listening that thinks, man, what could this do? Just go on YouTube and search Claude Cowork, and it'll come with all these videos of these people that stay on the front ends of all this and what they're doing now, use cases and kind of thing. And just watch a few of those videos. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
What it can do. And
I watched Michael Hieronymus when he was on with you. I watched that one like 3 times just because I was like, what?
Right. Right.
You know,
The latest
but the thing is, this stuff is changing so fast that by the time you listen to something like that, it's already almost obsolete to a certain extent 3 weeks later. So it's like you need somebody on your staff that this is all they do is check out all of the AI and how can you implement it in your business?
That's right. And that's
I
something
waste time figuring out how to implement it.
That's right. That's something that Michael Hieronymus, I mean, that's his full-time business now. It seems like he's doing less in commercial real estate and more of helping small businesses implement AI.
Yeah, no, he created a company
Yeah.
that just helps people, small and large business, integrate AI into their business. But YouTube is that staff person for me. Like, I'll watch a video or 2 a day.
Okay.
You know, 10, 20 minutes. And somebody is out there figuring all this stuff out, and I'm just drafting off of them.
Yeah.
You know,
And you can always take a few of those YouTube videos, right? You find a couple, and instead of watching through the whole thing, which you could do, you could take, oh, here's one, here's another one. I could watch this one, or here's an article, right? Whatever it is, and then put it into Notebook LM.
Yeah.
Right? You put those sources in Notebook LM and have it create a podcast for you talking about
Which
those.
is insane. That's another insane.
Insane.
and then
AI
just
platform.
listen to it on your 15-minute drive to downtown Chicago.
That's it. And you can interact with it too. You're like, wait a minute, let me ask this question. Like, great question, Reid.
That's right.
You're
like-
like the call in.
See?
Long time listener.
I don't need a wife now. I could just talk to Notebook L.
Hey, that's happening too.
That's
man.
a joke, people.
Yeah.
He was joking.
But
He loves
that's-
his wife, I'm sure.
That's I'm sure.
Best thing is she won't listen to this podcast. So
That is happening in people's relationships as well.
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yep, big time. Neuralink. Elon Musk has created Neuralink. It's a little chip you put in your head, right? Are you familiar with Neuralink at all?
About as much as you just said.
In your head.
In your head, right? And so they've already got several people that are using it. One of them was in I think a surfing accident, became paraplegic, and he's now playing video games with his mind. He's able to control the cursor with his mind, right? And so it's getting better and better with each person that's, each candidate that comes in to use it.
Bridget, if you would, Bridget is our video editor. She's on with us right now.
Hey, Bridget.
Hi, Bridget. If you'll pull up the clip from The Matrix, first movie, where Keanu Reeves goes, I know Kung Fu.
I know Kung Fu. Show me.
I know Kung Fu. People would love
This
that
is
right
what
here.
this sounds like.
Yeah.
You just drop that clip
Just
right
drop
there.
that chip
But
in your head.
Yeah, here's what's interesting about it. To kind of circle back to, is the world where we're living in a virtual reality coming, right? he talks about like the fact that a chip in your head makes you, what is it? We're like half robot, half cyborg, right? We're cyborgs already. It's just not inside of us. It's our phone, right? And so what this does is it eliminates a whole step, right? So even going back to when you're like, I'd love to not use Zoom anymore, right? Just have a pair of contacts or whatever. And that is the world that we're coming into, or that it looks like is coming, apart from AI even, right? It's like I heard him talking about this a few years ago on Joe Rogan. He was like, we will be able to communicate to each other without having to speak, without our brains going to our nervous system, to our mouths, to let things out, and to be able to understand each other, which are almost telepathic, the way people would be able to communicate to each other. And the access of everything that we know, right, would be, it's something.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's just going to breed a whole population of more loneliness. It's so funny, this whole thing with social media. The more people are on social media, I think actually the more lonely people are, even though you're connected to more people. I have 23,000 connections or whatever on LinkedIn. I might talk to 100 of them. Ever.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean,
it's crazy. It's crazy. And I was sitting in a waiting room the other day, and I was looking around, and just everybody is just in their phone. Nobody's talking to anybody. You know, they're all. It's
true.
Crazy.
But I mean, we're all going to have AI friends, so there you go. Yeah. There's a solution to loneliness.
I'm still thinking about going back. I've seen these people going back to flip phones just to get rid of this thing in your pocket.
That's right.
There's an attraction to that. I get it.
Yeah.
We had somebody on a few weeks ago, or the episode came out a few weeks ago, that was talking about the modern day neighborhoods, right? A cul-de-sac and all these little houses on the hillside that all look just the same, and how that really can also be a factor to loneliness, because we don't have communities built and set up where people congregate or come together in their neighborhood. In Chicago, of course, you do. Where I was living in Andersonville, what he was describing, it was very much like that. You're surrounded by people, and your community is there, and you run into such and such or whatever. But like here where we live, where, in Owensboro, the small towns, they're just so separated. And of course, some people want to go out and live on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you've got that, of course. But
bringing that back to like real estate too, right? So I lived in River North, downtown Chicago, for 14 years. I was in a high rise with 400 other units, right? I knew 4 people in that building. I was there for 7 years.
Wow.
Okay. I move up here to I'm still in Chicago, but I'm in a forest preserve with 48 other homes. I know 42 of them.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, you're talking about a high rise where everybody's packed in. It's like, you think, man, I have 400 neighbors. I'm going to have like so many interactions. Everybody's looking down as you're walking into the elevator. No, maybe you say hi. I would run into guys in the commercial real estate world in like LA. I'm like, how do I know you? How do I know you? I'm like, I live in Chicago. Me too. Well, whereabouts? We found out we live in the exact same building, 2 floors apart.
Wow.
I'm at a real estate conference in LA meeting these people in my building, right? So it's like, we don't interact, as much as you would think in a larger building downtown. I mean, where you were in Andersonville might be a little bit different because it's more mixed of high rises and smaller homes, but
that's right. It was different than living downtown.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to Mom's Place? Do you know that?
No.
Oh, okay. That's there in River North. I used to host karaoke there. I was the best karaoke host in Chicago.
I'm sure you were.
It was amazing. They packed out.
You were.
Oh, you're the best one I've ever seen there.
It was. Yeah. I was really good. I was good at taking people's money too.
Yeah.
I made so much money, but supply and demand.
Well, and you guys were really interesting when it. Well, first off, the dynamic that you guys have on this is fantastic because it's not, I think you hit two different kind of audiences, right? Somebody and there are so many podcasts about commercial real estate. It's just the same thing over and over and over. But coming from your perspective, from an acting background and an entertainment background, it makes it interesting to watch and to have Bo like sharing because the other thing is, Bo, a lot of the people that might listen to a podcast, when you're talking about something, they're going to just agree, oh yeah, I know that, but they're not going to ask the question,
right.
What do you mean by that? Right? And so doing it this way, I've learned I watched one that you talked about, the capital stack, that went into it way more than I ever knew it, being in the business for 20 years at the time. So it's like, you guys are doing a great job. And I have one story from that Massimo Con.
Okay.
So Massimo Con, I was, because how you get out of Dallas Fort Worth Airport, I was in an Uber to the Lowe's, right, for Massimo Con. And this was the first Massimo Con, actually. And this is when the interest rates were, again, skyrocketing. Deals were just getting blown up. I had a deal. It was a $14 million deal in North Carolina. I had this buyer that I was like, oh, this deal is done. We're going to close. He's calling me as I'm heading to the Lowe's for Massimo Con. And this is a story about how all you have to be is lucky in this business, not good, right? So he's calling and he's saying, my lender just left me. He backed out completely. And we're closing next week, right? And he said, and I was like, okay, so what's next? He's like, well, I'm going to fund it myself. But here's the thing. I need a $1 million price reduction. And he said that as I was getting the bellhop was opening the car door, right? Did I tell you the story?
No.
The bellhop's opening the car door. And, I was swinging my leg out. And when you hit your knee in that spot?
Oh, yeah.
And I hit my knee and I go, and, the bellhop's going, are you okay, sir? Are you okay? Are you okay, sir?
And this guy thinks you're reacting to the price reduction.
Right. And this guy goes, don't worry about it. I'll find the money. I'll raise extra money. I'll close the deal. And he ends up closing the deal, right?
You found a new hack.
Oh,
because
man.
any other time I would be like, come on, man. Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing all this. You're getting us to the 11th hour and you're, and it would have gone downhill, and he probably would have been like, you know what, screw you. No, I'm blowing this deal out, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's it. So all you have to do when you're getting bad news is
your knee.
fake an ailment, a huge ailment. Make sure people are around asking you if you're okay. That's what saved that deal.
That's a great
hack.
That's a great story. Hey, I do want to ask you something a little bit getting back to the business, but you do deals all over.
Yeah.
And there's this thing called license portability. Timmy, have we ever talked about license portability?
I think we did with Simon.
Okay.
Right? Because he's licensed.
Yeah, he's licensed in so many states. So, Reid, a lot of the listeners we have are probably brokers, much like me, that do 95% of their deals in one market, certainly in one state. You're doing deals all over. You're doing deals in states where you probably don't have a license.
100%.
So how do you serve your clients in other states? How do you take advantage of leads in other states? Like, how do you solve the license portability issue?
It's a great question. And, I'm jealous of the brokers that are in one small community that can know every single street, every single area. I used to know that when I was just in the neighborhoods in Chicago. The role that I'm at now, we're a very collaborative company, right? So I run this council where we have 266 multifamily focused members around the country. And what I do with that is, I always say that multifamily in particular, to me, is 80% the same nationally. The last 20% is local nuance, right?
Yep.
So I can underwrite a deal anywhere in the country and get 80% of the way there. I just don't know, what the nuance is. If there's polybutyl piping like in North Carolina, we don't have that in Chicago. So you need to understand to look out for things like that and how to underwrite and what the repair costs are, things like that. That's the last 20%. So with the council that I have, we used to do the national council calls within our company every month. For the first 8 years. I did it every month doing these calls. And then at the end, I would say, look, we're here to help you. If you are in Owensboro and you're a jack of all trades, but the owner that owns the 150 unit apartment deal and don't feel comfortable, and maybe you specialize in office or retail, bring us in. We will collaborate with you. I never touch foot in Owensboro. I never touch foot there, but I sync up with my colleague, with a broker that understands the market. I have, a perfect example is John Mottram. A shout out to John. He's in Montgomery, Alabama. And he came up to. There's a long-winded answer to your question. He came up to me. I run the multifamily breakout at the national conference. I think it was in San Diego. And he listened, and I said, we're here to collaborate. We'll help you on your first deal, your second deal, your 100th deal. If you only need us to win the first one and then you take off from there, you're not beholden to us. And so I presented that. And so John said, he's from Montgomery, Alabama, and he has the southern drawl, and he goes, hey, I like what you said. He said, I don't do any multifamily, but I porch swing with all the multifamily owners in Montgomery. I was first, what the hell's porch swing, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I know them all. I sit on the front porch, we swing, we talk. They go to my, the owners of the multifamily go to my church. My kids go to school with them. I just don't, I said, look, you bring us any one of those deals, we'll collaborate on it. We'll partner on every deal. We just closed our 8th deal in Montgomery, Alabama, multifamily. It was a 280 unit deal with him. He picks up the clients, drives them around, does all the groundwork, does all the showings, does every third-party report. He introduces a lot of the clients from out of state, and the last deal was out of the country. Flew in, met with him. He gave him a lawyer. He introduced him to the head of the Chamber of Commerce. He got him a management company. He did all the groundwork, and we partnered. And so we utilized his license because we partnered with him. He did all the groundwork. And so that's how we serve all of our clients that are buying deals in areas that we're not licensed. I immediately align myself with a colleague, either from my company, or if we don't, I'll find somebody through the CCIM network that is focused on a specific area, and I partner with them immediately. I say, here, we have this opportunity. Would you like to collaborate? 99% of the time, people are happy to do that.
And that's the answer. Like when you don't have a license, you want to do business in that state, you collaborate with somebody who has the license that you need. I mean, that's the answer.
That's the answer. 100%. You don't want to get 50 licenses and do all the CE for all that.
No. And
collaborate with them. Don't touch foot in the state, because some of them are turf states where you can't.
Yep.
But you can do everything else, and you collaborate with them, and you run it all through the local agent.
And which continues to build your network. It continues to add goodwill to your business. And if you're collaborative instead of competitive with the people, then the pie just grows.
100%.
And everybody does way better over time if you do that. And we've got too many people in our industry, I think, that they just try to capture as much of the fee all the time as they can, and they're not interested in collaboration. But man, breakthroughs and huge moves almost always happen through collaboration.
100%.
And so that's, I did want to mention one other thing, because I know we're short on time here, but you're a CCIM, you're familiar with Site to Do Business, which is, by the way, the worst name of a website in the history of websites.
It's about to change.
It's changing. They're announcing it in April.
Yeah.
Good.
Big unveiling.
Big unveiling, and I know what it's called.
Mm-hmm, me too.
But I'm not allowed to say.
Come on.
I'm hosting that unveiling.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at the Spring Forum. So I got a preview of a new functionality that's going to be added to Site to Do Business, and what its new name is going to be. Complete rebrand, because You know, most of us, if you're like me and you think about site to do business, you're thinking about Esri and the business analyst function, where you go in with the mapping software, you can pull demographics, and you can do gap analysis and void analysis, all that awesome stuff that they can do with the mapping software and all that geo stuff. But there's all kinds of other functionalities on site to do business. And one of the new things that one of our 102 instructors who came on the show, Mark Seipert, he has developed with AI and some of these data source providers, especially things like BLS and all the government reporting, man, he has created a way to perform a market analysis on the top 258 markets, I think. I think Owensboro's 260th, by the way. So we're
just missed it.
Just missed it. But dude, it is the most unbelievable, in-depth, instantaneous. I mean, it's pulling from Moody's, it's pulling from job data, it's pulling from all that demographic stuff. And you drop in what market you're looking for and you dial it in just a little bit, and man, that thing plays. And so, and Reid, especially as you're doing deals in markets, because this is the thing I figured out, especially when I started teaching 102. It's like, I don't need the 102 stuff a whole lot for Owensboro because I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah.
It's like my gut is in tune with Owensboro. And so somebody has an idea in this town, I'm automatically, I'm like, ooh, that's a good idea. Or I don't know about that one. You know, I don't have the data. I've just got the experience. But as soon as you talk about any other market besides Owensboro, Kentucky, I lack all the context, all the experience, all that stuff, and I have to go to the data, and I have to do all this market analysis stuff. So when you're underwriting a deal, man, it's irresponsible to underwrite a property without looking at the context of the market that it's in.
Sure.
Like, it lives in a market, you have to know that. And
The local nuance.
yeah,
as they
it's
call
that
it.
20%.
20%.
No, it's actually the 80% that is the numbers. And you still need boots on the ground to provide stuff that I have for Owensboro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But man, this tool, which was created with Claude Code and Mark Seipert and all these data sources and Moody's and all this stuff. I mean, and he's going to unveil that thing in Philadelphia at the spring CCIM forum as well. So Reid, man,
I can't wait.
just watch out, because this thing is going to make your life easier. It's going to make you smarter, more effective, and it's going to make you look smarter, and it's going to help your clients make more money and make better decisions.
I'm pumped, man. That's
It
awesome.
is.
Yeah, that's really exciting to like take advantage of that before brokers are no longer needed, you know?
Yeah, right.
As
Well,
we
look. 2002, 2003, LoopNet comes out. Or I mean, that's when I really recognized LoopNet, right? I had a lot of the owners of multifamily say, you brokers are done. There's going to be no need. All I have to do is put my deal up on the internet. It's like a Craigslist thing,
Yep.
you know, and you guys are done. Right?
Yeah.
But then I have other owners that tell me, yeah, I could probably sell it myself, but I know I'll blow the deal up because I'm an asshole. Right? So I need to have you funnel me, say, tell that guy to blah, 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 blah. And it comes out and I go, you know, he didn't really like point 2 of the PSA. Let's try to tighten that up a little bit. When he was basically yelling at me, telling me how much of an idiot this guy is for putting that point in.
We're the buffer. We take that emotional stuff out for the good of the deal.
Yeah.
And it's like a therapist a lot of times.
Big time. Big time.
or an agent.
Here's what I think is going to happen with the
Talent
whole
agent.
AI thing. I don't think brokers are going to go away. I think the brokers that harness AI are
100%.
just going to crush everybody else.
Yeah.
100%.
And you're going to need fewer brokers that have greater market share and can do so much better work more quickly that they can just handle more. And the best of the best are going to do way better. And that middle group is just going to be unneeded.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're going to be like the residential realtors that do 4 or 5 deals a year for their cousins and their friends and stuff, but it's a hobby.
How long do you think CCIM training is going to begin to teach these things that are going to help these brokers be unstoppable? You know what I mean? Like, commercial real estate is often behind the curve when it comes to technology, right? But if I'm thinking about being a young broker, someone going into it, right, and you want to get your CCIM, all that's very important. How important do you think it is for CCIM to begin to adapt AI in teaching AI techniques and principles or whatever?
It's essential. It's recognized to be essential. Like the Institute gets it at this point.
Yeah.
The first thing they did was they've collaborated with Michael Hieronymus. So like his course is now offered through CCIM.
Oh, nice.
So you can take his course through CCIM, and I think if you're a CCIM member, there's also a pretty nice discount. Like that's the way to take Michael's course.
Yeah.
That gets you 90% of the way there right off the bat. You can take that 2-month course, and you're now in the top 5% of commercial real estate practitioners in the use of AI. We just completed a study with Vanderbilt University on how to integrate AI, like what it needs to look like at the institute level to serve our clients and to give them the tools to be at the front of the line when it comes. So like that's coming. We're rewriting all our courses. We're doing a complete designation revitalization. All the courses are going to change. How they're delivered is going to change. AI is going to be in the middle of all of it. I'm actually helping rewrite the 102 course right now with Michael Hieronymus and Mark Seipert and George Wilson and
Nice.
Gary Martinez, who was just on the
That's right. Yeah.
on the podcast, and Nate Worthen, and probably forgetting somebody I forgot. But like we're rewriting AIs in all of it, and so man, it's coming fast. Like in the next couple of months, you're going to be seeing it everywhere.
Nice.
And most of the time when I teach 102 now, the chapters are having me do an extra day, generally before the class, and it's all about site to do business in AI. And so the chapters who put on the courses are recognizing the demand. Like there's a lot of interest in that kind of thing. And so, yeah, most of these 4-day classes, we're doing 5-day classes now because we're adding on an extra day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it either should be a 105 AI, or like you said, it's nice to hear that they're integrating it throughout the program because you have to.
It needs to be a part of all of it.
Yeah. I'd go back and take them all over again. Maybe we should do it. Well, you teach.
Well, look, if you're not aware of that life after the pen thing, or life with the pen is what it should be called. You can take one core course a year for like a couple $100, and it's well worth it, especially when it comes to 102. 102 is a dynamic course. The other courses are fairly static in their content.
Yeah.
But 102 changes constantly, and we use live data in the class. So like when we're doing these case studies, it's not just static data, it's the actual data.
Yeah.
I have to redo all these case studies every time I teach it because the results change.
Yeah.
And it's powerful.
CI 101, that's Jim Rosen, right?
He's a 103 guy. I think he
103,
probably
that's right.
teaches 101 as well.
Yeah, 103.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Jim Rosen.
Yeah, Jim Rosen.
Yeah. He listens every week. And
Hi, Jim.
Hey, Jim. Shout out.
It'd be the longest show notes ever.
I know. Well, speaking of Michael Hieronymus and his class, if you all use the code, if you want to take that class or you want to be in that, we do have a discount code.
We do.
CS Pod. That gets you 10% off. CS Pod.
10 might even be 15%.
It could be more than 10. At least 10% off. Could be more. But CS Pod. And I'll
much
put
as
that in the
50.
show notes. Yeah. Reid, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you or connect with you?
You can the easiest way is going to be LinkedIn.
There you go.
All my information's up on there. I have a QR code to all my contact information, including my personal cell. So connect with me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. That's Reid
Awesome, guys.
Bennett. Yeah, on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, Reid, this is great.
Yeah.
I've been
is
looking
fun.
forward to this for a long time. So thanks for coming on.
All right, guys.
We talked about AI.
Look, we
Just
talked about the multifamily market. Actually,
right.
we talked about license portability. We talked about collaboration, how to bring on essentially subject matter experts to help you do deals that you're a little bit over your skis on.
Sure.
Yeah. And I remember doing this. I think it was 2011. We'd been in the SVN franchise for a couple of years at that point, and we used to have the top 100 list. You can go online to the intranet, the SVN intranet, and they had the top 100 brokers based on gross commission income. And I thought, and I'm sure somebody gave me this idea, but they were like, if I call 2 of them a week, I can at least start a relationship with the top 100 brokers in a year.
Huh.
And so I would do that. I would call 2 of them a week, and 1 out of 10 were, didn't have time for me or wasn't interested, but 9 out of 10 were like willing to talk, get to know me. They're incredibly nice and collaborative. I was surprised at that. And so I built a relationship with these great brokers all over the country. And in 2011, 50% of my deals were collaborations with other SVN offices outside of Owensboro.
Wow.
And it made a huge difference to our business, specifically that year. And it was because I had relationships and I could do business now license-wise in other places. But more than that, it's not that it just opened up the geography to me. I brought in people that could help me serve the clients better.
Yeah.
Which grew our business. And yeah, I was sharing fees, but holy moly, what a benefit.
Right.
The pie grew. And so getting a smaller piece of it meant I was getting more than I would have before.
That's right.
And everybody was winning,
Yeah.
So we talked about that concept.
Yeah, we talked about also, that network, right? There's that network, CRE Investor Coach. We dug into that a little bit too because he started that. The network that you can get through that, especially if you want to move into investing in commercial real estate, especially from a broker bridging over. Don't have to be a broker, but CRE Investor Coach. Imagine taking advantage of that, of all the AI tools that we talk about, Michael Hieronymus's class. Both of those are in the show notes. You could check it out. But then pairing all that with a virtual executive assistant that can help with everything else you're talking to an actual human being that is actually trained in commercial real estate.
And in AI.
And in AI as well. Superpowershq.com/commercially speaking to get yours today. It changed Bo's life and essentially mine, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I believe we're having the Superpowers HQ guys back on the show. I think we record that episode maybe next week.
I think so. They're coming back on. That's going to be great. I loved their last one. It'll be interesting to see any updates.
In fact, if you're still listening, we appreciate it. Mm-hmm. If you have any questions about executive assistants in commercial real estate specifically, or how to use them otherwise, drop us a note. We're going to have these guys back on the show and we can get your questions answered. And so if you have questions, it's the hardest part for me was giving up control and letting somebody in another country manage me and my day. Mm-hmm. And it's been freeing. It's been wonderful, but that was a hard step for me to get to. But we're going to dive into that and a bunch of other ways to just supercharge your life with an executive assistant.
I'm sure there's so many of you that do have questions, and we'd love to just put them in the comments wherever you're listening to this. Speaking of, if you're listening to this on YouTube, please, we would absolutely love if you hit subscribe, comment, but most importantly, share. If you get any value out of this at all, you could take that next step and leave us a review on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. And we really, really appreciate it. We've got a newsletter, subscribe.wgbaron.com, where we've got articles on negotiations, new listings here in Owensboro, Kentucky. That's going to be
super exciting stuff.
Super exciting. It's peppered in through there, but a lot of articles that can really help in your day-to-day life. You can follow us at Commercially Speaking on all social media platforms. Twitter is ComSpeakPod. Twitter, or since Elon Musk bought it, is
X.
also known as Twitter. It's still X. What was it? Jon Stewart had a joke. He was like, Twitter, or as it's referred to since Elon Musk has bought it, Twitter. The Jon Stewart joke the other day. Anything else?
No.
Oh, we did talk about the great financial crisis, right? And we are having somebody on soon that was a big part of that. That was one of the account managers for Steve Carell's character, Michael Litt. Yes, he'll be coming on
The Big
soon.
Short.
Yeah, we talked about that. I wanted to bring that up, but we got some exciting and a few other really great guests coming up. So subscribe, share. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Thanks all.
Yeah, love you,
brother.
Love you too, brother. Bye, Alice.
Bye, Alice. Bye, Bridget.
Bye, Bridget. Yeah.
All right.
Bleh.